what's your all-time favorite LT story? You know, there's a lot out there, public.
I will tell you, there was some crazy thing. You know, you're a rookie. I'm coming from Texas Southern. And this cat's like, yo, we having a party, and it's mandatory that you rookies come.
Oh, mandatory?
If you don't show up, we are fining you. Now, back then, we ain't making these rookies come out making billions. We ain't making that. I can't take no $500 fine. And let's just say, I saw things that I never thought I'd ever see in my life. And I'm just glad there were no video phones and cameras and all that. It was a different era. And everybody,
you think that era changed?
Everybody agreed to be there. So it was nothing crazy like that. But it was just, it was some jaw-dropping stuff for a young cat like me.
We had to fight to get a meal, yeah, wrongfully accused. We had to fight to get a bill. That's why we right to get a deal. He on the team, he gotta eat, you know, despite the skills. Keep it riding for the fam, you gotta light the wheels straight up. Look in the past bad, work up in the trash bag. I'll pass a lot to take the test before I pass class. And my family needed bread, I had to come correct. That's why I keep airing it out like I just passed gas.
Super excited about this one. In this conversation, we'll talk about transition. In this conversation with this particular person, Shady,
That's right.
We'll talk about family. We'll talk about routine. A lot of dudes, right? Like, what's our routine? How do we become successful? How do we get there and stay there?
Right.
So super excited about this one. What a major mogul.
Yes, sir.
Phenomenal human being, phenomenal person, phenomenal ex-football player, Michael Strahan. We appreciate you, bro,
Pleasure,
coming
man.
on the show.
No, I appreciate it. I
Give him a little
respect.
flowers. Give him a little flowers.
Hey, bring the flowers in. Bring the flowers in.
I got beat by all three of y'all. Leave me alone, man.
That's right.
But in all seriousness, y'all called. I'm happy to be here. I got a lot of love and respect for y'all, man, what you're doing, because, you know, I know it's not easy as work, but you know what, you guys, I love seeing guys transition from football to after football and kind of realize that football is fantastic, it's incredible, give you like a jump start.
Right.
But you got a long life to live.
Right.
You can't just sit in the house all day and do nothing. So it's good to do something and see you guys excelling at this, because this is not easy.
Right.
At all.
And in a few minutes, I want you to lay the blueprint out for us when it comes to transition. But before we get there, I mean, man, like, you are the blueprint, right? A lot of us look up to you and study you. You know, there's the Jay-Z's of the world and music, and then there's the Michael Strahans when it comes to sports.
Yeah.
So
Transition.
football, Super Bowl champion, Hall of Famer, media mogul, super successful there. But let's hold that. I want to start with, what's your toughest moment, the toughest thing you've ever had to face? Let's have that conversation.
Journey.
I think that the toughest thing of transitional moment in my life was growing up on a military base and not playing football until my senior year of high school.
Wow.
When my dad decided to send me back to Houston. So I go back, homesick, I play, I get one scholarship to Texas Southern. It was free. My dad said, that's where you going, because I ain't paying. You got free. It's free, you going. And so, you know, cool. I go, I spend my 5 months in Houston, sign my scholarship, fly back to Germany, graduate high school there. And after my first semester in college, that was the toughest time for me, because homesick, didn't know the game of football. Like, I'm out there like a chick with my head cut off. Cats are running. I don't know plays. I don't know formations. I don't know linemen. I don't know nothing. I'm just a dude who dad said you're supposed to be out there, and you're going to go because you're free.
Right.
And I remember going home after my first semester and decided I was going to be a man up to my dad and tell him I ain't going back. But I didn't tell him that when I got home.
Right.
I told him that when he was wondering why I was still there, and school had started like 2 weeks already. And I was like, I'm not going back. He said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to get a job. And he looked at me and he said, what are you going to do? And just the way he looked at me and the way he said it to me was like, I'm not going to take care of you. You're a grown-ass man now. Time for you to take care of yourself. And I don't know what it was. It clicked in my mind, okay, I can't stay here. I got to go back. I gotta be uncomfortable. I gotta do something I don't want to do. But since I gotta do it, just go crazy, go hard at it, and see where it goes. Because I cannot come back here and live in this house with my parents. It ain't gonna happen. And that was probably the hardest thing for me, was like realizing at that point that I wasn't a kid no more, man. I was a grown ass man at that point.
What age is this right here? This is what, 18?
I mean, yeah, like 17, 18 years old. 17 years old, actually.
So
17.
then it clicks on you when Dad told you that the things that you seen Dad do instill in you, did that make you say, oh,
Terry,
Oh, yeah.
mom.
yeah, you know what I mean? Hey, boy, see, you finna get real, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but exactly. I mean, my dad went into the Army out of high school as a private, and after 12 years in the Army, realized that he wasn't going to get where he wanted to be, being just like an enlisted soldier. He wanted to be an officer. So he got out of the Army, had 5 kids already. I was on the way. Him, my mom driving buses, my mom throwing patches on ROTC uniform. He got into the ROTC program at Prairie View University at 30-something years old.
Right.
And they were like, you're too old. But he was a boxer. And it was a colonel who happened to come to Prairie View because they were trying to get more black officers in the military. And this colonel comes, and my dad is over there trying to get into the program and talking to the guy. And they had already told my dad, you're too old, you old man. You ain't getting in the program at 35, 36 years old. And the colonel starts to ask my dad, where you're from. He's like, I was stationed in France. And he's like, oh, really?
Right.
You know what? I was in France. I saw the damnedest military fight in France with this Army guy and blah, blah, blah. And my dad looked at him and goes, sir, that was me.
Yeah.
Colonel put him in the ROTC program, 30-something years old. And my dad graduated magna cum laude of the ROTC program, at the top of the program, went back into the military as an officer, was in the 82nd Airborne Division as a master jumper, commander of the 1st Combat Equipment Company. I mean, he went on to do incredible stuff. And when I was 13, I was a chunky kid. You know, I call it
I seen
big
pictures.
bone.
I seen pictures.
Yeah. Shut up. He said that ain't, shut your mouth, man. But my brothers used to call me Bob. And I'm the youngest of 6, so they calling me Bob, and I don't know what Bob meant. I thought it was cool. I'm little brother, got a nickname, and they go, no, that means booty on back. So I started working out, and my dad saw me working out by myself for like months, and then he decided to work out with me. And that's where the work ethic came from, because I'm in the gym at 13 years old on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 6, 7 days a week.
On the base.
And he looked at me and on some days and he said, I know you don't want to be in here, son, but trust me, one day it'll pay off. I'm in Germany. I'm not even thinking about football. This was 4 years before I even thought about it. Or he even thought about it. It was more his idea than mine. So I think just working with him and watching the way he worked and watching the way that he didn't take no for an answer and how he wanted to improve and better himself, there was no excuse for me.
Right.
You know, I didn't have the responsibilities that he had when he got out of the military in a stable job to try to create a better life for his family. I had a lot more freedom because of his sacrifices, so I wasn't gonna let him down.
Right.
I was willing to do whatever it took at that point.
So one of the things that we was talking about when we was preparing for this conversation was like, man, we got some time with Big Bro. Everything that you have going on, Good Morning America, you know, NFL on Fox, you know, your own companies, production company. Can you walk us through routine and why that's important?
I mean, y'all know routine. I mean, this is a routine. You got to come here, you got to be prepared, you got to do all those things. And when I retired, I was no different than any player who retired. Hell, I was scared to death. And I think playing in New York was beneficial for me. And I'm not gonna fool myself and think I'm so great and I have a great personality and just so smart. No, I played in the right city at the right time with the right personality, with the right achievements. And instead of having those things and just sitting on them when I retired, I realized that was a springboard. And being an athlete, I think maybe because I didn't grow up playing football, football is what I did. It wasn't who I was.
Right.
And it wasn't like the be all end all of my life. Because a lot of guys I noticed, like I played football and I'm a football player. And when I first came to the league, I'll never forget, Cat be like, hey man, you play football? You be like, yeah. What year? Yeah, my first year, second year. And they be like, oh, okay. And you feel a little bit diminished, like, yo, I'm a football player, man, you better respect that. And then they start getting like, what year? 6, 7. And you're like, yeah. And then once you hit, I hit year 10, 12, and people would ask me, and it started to bother me. Not because I was ashamed of being a football player, but I'm more than a football player.
Right.
And you see me, I'm more than a football player. This is just one aspect of what I can do. And I think that's how we get diminished in a lot of ways in society. And hopefully it's changing now because guys have been accomplishing incredible things after the game, is that we're no longer being seen as just an athlete.
Right.
And that's important, man. But I had to get that out of my head. When I first retired, I remember going to meetings in LA, trying to work on stuff. And I'm talking to this big movie producer. Because at that point, I thought I was going to be an actor. I think that, people see me and they have this perception of me being just a football player. But he goes, they only going to see you how you see yourself. So if that's how you see yourself, that's all they're going to see. Because you get off that energy, you won't portray anything different from that. So I had to get out of my own head about what I expected people to see me like and create what I wanted to be and what I wanted to see myself as.
And what's that?
A human being with different abilities to do different things. Like I wanted to be creative. I wanted to be on the entertainment side, but I also love business. I wanted to be on the business side. So I had to create those things, but it wasn't easy. And I think that's, you say you get a lot of guys who watch this who are still in the league, a lot of guys who aren't in the league, a lot of people who will never be in the league who watch this. And for them, the ones who look, they go, yo, look at Strahan. He's done this. He got that.
Everybody says that.
They like, but no.
It's not easy, bro. You
Well,
gotta be in the right
rolled
place at the
out.
right
It ain't that
time.
easy,
You know
bro.
what I'm
Every
saying?
black
And you
football
gotta
player
be you.
transitions to business immediately.
Everybody says that.
Like I rolled out of bed though, and it happened. It didn't happen that way. It didn't happen that way.
My thing is like a lot of players from the transition. So I'm fresh out, right? And we talked a couple times about different things I was trying to do on the media side, right? He's been out for 4 years.
3,
4.
4.
So as a player that's around 10, 11 years, he knows his time is coming. What message or advice would you give to that player? Like, hey, it's time to make that transition. Like, how do you start it?
Well, I think the trying to make a transition is even well before that.
Okay.
I was always all in. Football season, I'm always all in. I locked in. So you talk about routine. You weren't going to outwork me after practice, and everybody's in there going home, taking showers, eating. I'm working out.
Right.
I'm watching film. I'm doing everything because I was all in on football because I realized any success after the game for me would be greater if I had greater success in the game.
Right.
So I wasn't worried about being a star. I wasn't worried about none of that. I wanted to win. And winning sets a lot of things right.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So I started as a I didn't realize that I started. Let's put it that way.
Right.
But if I were to go back now,
you didn't realize you transitioned?
I didn't realize that I started the transition years before because I was just doing, State asked me to do stuff. Hey, will you go do this and you do that interview? Or everybody's in front of your locker with a microphone
so you would do it.
and coming up with something clever to say. I wasn't thinking about it was like a audition in a lot of ways.
Right.
Hell, I was just having fun. I was kicking it. It was like, this was fun. I never experienced
So
nothing
you
like
wasn't thinking about like, let me start doing this now because eventually I'm gonna be on Good Morning
No.
America. I'm gonna be on live.
that. Absolutely not.
Wow.
Absolutely not. I wasn't even thinking about Fox. I wasn't thinking about commentating football, nothing. I was just answering questions and trying to do it in a way so I wasn't like, oh yeah, we gonna go out here and go take it one play at a time. You know?
That's everybody's main one, right?
Yeah. That's we see everybody
Right.
do every time. I'm like, I don't want to be that boring. Plus, if you do that, think about it. They gonna use anybody clip.
Right.
You ain't getting no shine. You just wasted your time talking to this guy and ain't gonna use none of it.
Right.
So give them
That's
something they're
true.
gonna
Yeah.
use. Be different.
So in retrospect, right? Okay, you didn't intentionally create the blueprint. You created it, right?
He definitely created it.
Yeah.
So
We talked about that earlier.
What is the blueprint? What would you say? Like, even if you go back and you outside looking,
The
and you're like, all
blueprint,
right,
there is no blueprint. The blueprint is try different stuff. Don't be afraid to fail. If it doesn't work, learn from it and move on to the next thing. Don't let something that doesn't work make you feel like, oh, this is over my career. No, like having a bad play in football. You ain't got time to think about that last play because you got the next one hitting you in the face.
That's right. That's
and
right.
that guy across from you, he ain't feeling sorry for you.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I always looked at it, no one in sports, no one after sports, no one owes me nothing. They owe none of us nothing. You got to earn everything you get. And to be honest with you, the more you earn, well, y'all serving food?
Oh yeah.
You gotta break bread.
So on the show, we like to break bread.
All right.
We like to break bread. You know, we gave flowers earlier. Now we like to break bread.
They didn't bring the flowers
And we know
upstairs.
you healthy.
We still waiting for the flowers.
Okay.
Well, you know, Posse, you know I'm on my way.
Y'all chicken my salads. Y'all doing all right. We got to do this again, man. Maybe I went enough.
There you go. Now we like to break bread with the people we respect.
Can I get some water?
Appreciate it. but I think that success has been because of so many failures and knowing what not to do the next time and knowing how I don't want to feel.
Yeah.
And I've done some things where I've trusted other people and I've looked back and said, man, if I'd gone with my gut, I would have felt better about this.
Yeah.
Because I'm trusting other people, been in that side of the business a lot longer than me, and I'm thinking they're right. And then in hindsight, I look back and go, if I trusted myself, it probably would have worked better. Or in failure, at least I know I put everything of me into it. I can accept that. I can't accept failing, listening to somebody else, but when my name's on it. And that's happened. That bugs me. So now I'm all in. I trust other people on my team, that I have a great team, but I know what's right for me.
Right.
But I'm just learned, don't be afraid to fail, man. Yeah. Try different stuff. Like I said, I thought I was gonna be an actor. I did it, had a sitcom on Fox for 12 episodes.
Brothers too, you did?
Brothers.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And then realized, you know what? I enjoyed that, but that wasn't for me. Wasn't for me at all. And so now if someone calls me and asks me, will you come on and do this part or that part? Yeah. But I sitting there, you'd audition, got them cameras on you, people looking in the room, looking at you like,
right.
I'm like, oh man, I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not doing this.
So Shady, you say you just you're transitioning first year.
Yeah, so like, okay, so I guess
so what is your feeling on this?
So my story is more like around like year 10, right?
Yeah.
You know what? When I started like calling shots like normal, right? And the coaches wasn't like responding the same, I'm like, uh-oh. You know what I'm saying? So the role started slowing down, and then I'm in year 13, 12. Me and my brother, we started really getting heavy in the real estate, right? So that was our thing, buying up stuff in my neighborhoods, from Philadelphia to Harrisburg, and just, you know, going that journey, right?
Yep.
And I always wanted to kind of do media because that was like the visual part. You know, I'm visual, my face is out there, you know.
Which only helps your other business.
Oh, exactly. So I was using that to help my other businesses. So as it picked up, and that's when even with the media, I want to get more involved. So I had different opportunities that I was trying to do, and then I picked up with Brandon. You know, and this is around the time where I was going with Good Morning Football. I was up and down if I wanted to do it and all that. So, but it's been hard though. Like small things, like I've gained probably like 30 pounds since I've last played. You know what I mean? Things you don't think about.
Yep.
Or like I've checked my emails more than I ever did. I check my emails more than I check my phone for meetings and et cetera. So my biggest thing was more just like the schedule. I'd be trying to like, okay, let me get a workout in the morning. Because we're so used to being as ball players, right? Everything is always presented to the player. So Michael or LeSean, like today.
No, everybody we've always been on a schedule.
Always on a schedule.
Tell you where to be, when to be there, when
what time, look, what time.
Right.
What you gonna do in between, how hard you gonna work on. Everybody always tells us that.
So it's changed now. Now that's like, so now when I have different businesses I'm involved, like I'm trying to set the meetings, and it's tough because when are you free, right? I'm used to just, basically you kind of telling me, I tell my assistant, yo, et cetera, and they have it out for me. Where now, in the business world, I got so many different things I'm involved in. It's not just ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like today, we were going over the production meeting with you. I had a meeting with myself, with my team, with my real estate, squeeze that in there. So everything is like the scheduling has been tough for me. That's the transition.
I think the reason why this conversation is important because a lot of us are struggling. Let's be honest.
Because it's
right?
new.
How many
so what have you guys found to be the hardest part? What's your hardest part of your
scheduling for me?
To me, was creating the itinerary, creating the schedule. It's exactly what we're talking about.
It was hard for me at first, but I got the game taken away from me.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So I had a whole year like, oh, Then I was out when I broke my neck. Then when I first initially invested in a weed company in 2006, back younger, I started going to meetings, just started listening just because for a snap second, I thought everything was over with. So then I picked back up, boom. So, and then I retired 2018, and I kind of like had myself on, all right, make sure I work out every morning or get me at least an hour of cardio. I'm gonna make sure, 2 days out the week, I'm gonna take the kids to school. I'm gonna make sure I pick them up from school 2 days. You know what I mean? I'm gonna handle all my meetings on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I'm gonna have me one day to myself. So mentally, I can know how to deal with myself too and enjoy some of the things that I've worked so hard for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think a lot of guys get caught up with, oh, I gotta meet this quota, meet this quota, meet this quota, meet this quota, and then don't forget and lose. Like, damn, did I take 5 minutes to go and get myself a massage?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or did I take 5 minutes to take a deep breath just to myself? You know what I mean? And a lot of times with wives at home, with kids, it's sliding. You know what I mean? So I think the biggest thing, you have to just find you a little space to really just take a deep breath and say, all right, I can leave this for 45 minutes and then come back. Not saying leaving not knowing what my responsibility is. I'm saying debrief the situation.
But that's tough because we're so used to what's the next thing.
Yeah.
What's the next accomplishment. So we playing a game, we win a game, you enjoy it for a minute, then what's up?
Right.
You gotta win in that game. Win in that game, you lose in that game, what's up? You gotta get ready for the next one. And then when even in the off season, people think that off season's done and football season's done, and we just chilling. Like you get a minute,
Right.
but then I was always so consumed worrying about being in shape and worrying about the next one that I never enjoyed most of my career as far as like an off season and hanging out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't
always
enjoy
had a
my entire career.
I had a worker mindset. I had such a worker's mindset. And so, to be honest with you, the last year I went back, we won the Super Bowl. That was the year I thought we had the least chance of winning anything. A damn thing.
Wow.
And I
We
went back
played y'all
only
that year, too.
because I had hurt my foot. And I was like, I can't retire 14 years off a foot. Let me go back 15. And I want to go back and not care about sacks. I don't care about wins. I don't care about Pro Bowl. I don't care about nothing. I'm going to go back and have fun with the dudes. Just me and the fellas just going to kick it and have a good time. And we did. And it ended up being the best year, the most fun I ever had. I don't know if I would have been able to do that earlier in my career. But we're so used to accomplishing things and all of a sudden that's cut off. And for me, I try to work out an hour a day. I'm juggling work, I'm juggling kids. And now my life is on track to be so scheduled because of all the things I'm doing, which I prefer and I like. But I also know how to relax now. I also know how to take time away and not just think and focus 24/7.
Yeah, but break that
it takes
down.
practice.
Yeah, what's that look
But
like?
break that down. Like that's why this conversation
My
is
schedule?
important. No,
Yeah.
but because you asked the question, what's the hardest thing? And the hardest thing for me was, Shady, you said it. Here you go, football player. You wake up at 6 a.m. because you have the first meeting at 8 a.m., right? Then you got breakfast, this hour.
Yeah.
You got workouts. From workouts, you go to film review. From film review, you have a little 10-minute break.
Right.
Then you got receiver meeting. Then you have until you're out of the building. So the hardest thing for me was, all right, now I'm launching a business, 2 businesses.
Yeah.
I have a team, staff. Still got to take care of myself.
Family.
Husband,
Yeah.
father.
Yeah.
Right.
Now I got to create when I wake up. When do I wake up? When do you wake up? What's holding you accountable? When do you work out? And then so that was a struggle just creating that. It took me a year and a half to say, oh, this is when I check my email.
But that's okay.
Right.
That's okay. People are different paces.
Yeah.
But I think we always try to compare it. And I'll tell you, I've just been very fortunate, but I think we always try to look and go, if I'm not having the same level of busyness or success as I had in sports, I'm failing.
Right.
That ain't the case. And I'll be honest with you, I look like I work a lot more now than I ever did playing, but I have more time now than I ever had playing. I have less stress now than I ever had playing football. And so that's why
I don't believe that.
Yeah,
I tell you right now.
you on
How?
everything though.
Because
Driving.
like football season,
Now,
you're in New York, then
Now,
you
do I
fly.
gotta wake up early like I'm on injured and I gotta go get treatment?
Oh,
Yeah. You know, they make
Right.
the person who injured get treatment early because they don't want you to get off that injured list. Do I gotta wake up early and do that? Yeah. But it's required me to be disciplined. It almost required for me to tap into a new level of like discipline I didn't know I had because I gotta go to bed at a certain time to make sure I get the right amount of sleep. Gotta make sure I'm read up on stuff because I got teammates that I can't disappoint them either.
Right.
That's right.
So it's kind of like I just transferred from one team to another. But in between, GMA and live and NFL and all that stuff, it was tough. 36 years old, man. I retired 15 years. People know you. And yeah, can I go over to the Giants game? Absolutely. They're going to let me sit on the sideline and watch the game. They're going to let me go up in the box. They ain't write me a check. I got to figure this out.
Right.
But we've all developed relationships when we play. All right. We all have played golf with somebody, went to an event with somebody, exchanged numbers with somebody who you just liked. They were cool. Maybe they're in something. Try to, what do you do? Try different stuff. Figure it out. Go sit. Don't be afraid to humble yourself and call somebody. Because I tell you, our biggest thing, we're so used to everybody doing everything for us.
Yeah.
Not just a schedule, but period. I go to the doctor.
Yep.
Hey, already hooked that up.
Right.
Right.
Get an MRI. Wait in line. What's that?
Right. That's big.
Huh?
That's real. That's real. That's
big.
real.
Everything we've done, we have been catered to. And the hardest thing is to realize that when you're not in that business anymore, you got to figure out a way to do things for yourself that no one else, that everyone's always taking care for you.
Do you think that's one of the reasons why a lot of our guys struggle post-career? Because all those responsibility now is shifted on you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's human nature. There's no way you've had all these things that we've experienced and then it goes away. And I thought I was ready to retire. I was ready. And I was still scared to death. It was still a big transition. There were still days where I think I felt depressed about it. And you're waking up and I'm working out, then I realize, what am I working out for? I ain't got nothing to do with all this working out for. Why am I here lifting like I'm getting ready to try to get John Runyon off me?
Right.
And I don't have to touch that cat no more. This is going to be great. But at the same time, it's scary. But I just found that I just learned that I would take meetings with people.
Yeah.
I was just like dive into stuff and not dive in like writing a check, but dive in like, oh, I'd love to hear about that.
Right.
Because we all know you get approached about 1 million businesses and everybody wants you to get involved in different things, but everybody's great idea comes out of your checkbook.
That's true.
And it's like, it's a great idea. Right. If you believe in it so much, you need to put your skin in the game.
Right.
But every idea comes out of you.
That's true.
Because I think there's a lack of respect in a lot of ways. And I think the one thing that I think is missing that definitely has to be corrected is financial literacy.
Mm-hmm.
We're 20-something years old and get millions of dollars in our pocket. Nobody told us about finance. Nobody told us about taxes. No one told us about investing. I used to think I got $1 million. I just got to stretch that $1 million out. If you get 500 grand if you pay taxes, but after, say I have $1 million after I pay taxes.
Right.
I didn't know when you invest that $1 million, maybe you go get them, make 10%, 12%. I used to think, well, I got $1 million. I just got to space it out a little bit and make it last as long as I can make it last.
Right.
I'm thinking about investing. And so I think it's about being diligent and respectful of your time. And when I say explore new things and try new things, I mean, meet people, sit in an office, humble yourself to ask somebody, can I shadow you? And not just somebody like me, but like in business or whatever. And you might find something that you really enjoy and something that's natural and that you're good at. Because for me, I didn't know what I was good at outside of football.
Yeah.
But now I'll go to a meeting, and I was at a dinner last night, and I'm in this room, and I've been at several of them within the last few months. I'm in a room and I'm going, the hell am I doing in this room? Because I'm looking around at the big of the big.
Right.
People that I would never imagine I would be sitting with in a room in an open discussion and have something to add to it.
Who is those people?
Well, I don't know if I can give names.
Yeah, you can.
I can't give names.
You can't give it a
Oh
dinner.
no, but I will say titans of business industry and titans of sports. And I'm not talking about athletes. I'm talking about the ones who run it.
Oh wow.
Because you know how they
Well,
say, well, you rich,
Yeah.
but the guy who writes your check, he's wealthy.
Yeah.
And the guy who's telling the guy who's writing the check, he's the man.
Right.
So it's like being in those meetings and actually having people look and want you to contribute and appreciating and respecting your opinion made me, feel like I get more respect than I give myself credit for. Because it's still hard for me to give myself credit for all the stuff I do. Because in my mind, I still ain't doing enough in a way. You know what I'm saying?
But you're doing a lot, though. I tell you that you're doing a lot. Speaking of a lot, you took care of Prime, them team, suited and booted. I see. Let's talk about that transformation, because Prime doing a lot of good stuff down there with Jackson State. How did you end up with him with doing all the clothes and stuff? You got them boys nice, man.
Prime is my guy, man. I mean, played Pro Bowls years ago, and now I'm a management company, and Prime is one of our clients. So we have Prime, we have Tony Gonzalez, Aaron Andrews, Troy Aikman, Kurt Menefee with me at Fox, Wiz Khalifa, Snoop Dogg, the Bella Twin wrestlers.
What company is it? Was this? What is
my
this?
management company.
Oh, okay.
Smack Entertainment.
Okay.
So we've been with Prime for forever.
Right.
And so when he made this transition, to Jackson State, it was like, you serious about this? He said, yeah. And me coming from HBCU, I would have wished like a Deion Sanders. That would have been the epitome of craziness to have a coach like that, a guy like that come and be your coach. So Prime went to Jackson State doing so many things, raising a lot of money and awareness for HBCUs. And he hit me and say, oh, Prime, you look good, you feel good. You feel good, you play good. You play good, they pay good. So he wanted these kids to have that feeling, not thinking they're going to get paid good because they're in college, but that feeling of being put together. You know when you walk up there buzzing, you clean.
Looking right. Come on, man.
What?
Like y'all see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you see it. You hope they got a camera out there. You know, you hope that you catch you. So of course that's my guy, man. And we have a clothing line, my suit line collection. So why not?
Right.
That's where I came from, man. I wish somebody would have reached back. So this is my opportunity to reach back.
Right.
So we did it there. We did it at Texas Southern. Did we do Tennessee? Eddie George? We're working on Eddie George.
Who's he with? Who's he at?
Tennessee State.
Is that where he's at?
Yeah.
I like Eddie George. Okay.
So we so we're just trying to help these kids, man, feel the value that they should feel about themselves. And for me, I've been fortunate to start this clothing company 7 or 8 years ago in a meeting.
Right.
With a suit manufacturer who said, we'll put you in front of JCPenney. And we go into this meeting, and I'm there with my business partner, Constance Swartz. And I know when we go into the meeting that they're expecting her to run the meeting and for me to be,
right.
oh, I got us to meeting because they got in here because I'm the football player. They can get a picture and put it on the thing and tell the people they were hanging out. But I know my stuff. So when you go in those meetings, I'm like, your name will get you in the meeting, but what keeps you in the meeting?
That's right.
You gotta know what you're talking about.
That's right.
So I think I even surprised her because I led the meeting. This is what we're trying to do. This is why we want to do it. This is why you should be our partner in doing it. All the things.
Which is interesting. I heard a legendary story about Magic Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Magic Johnson, I mean, who's worth more money, you or him?
Magic. Come on, man.
Right? So legendary story, GE, had an investment arm. Magic Johnson was raising his first fund. And, the ex-chairman and CEO, black man, actually told me this story. So he was like, hey, Magic Johnson's coming in. He's raising $20 million, somewhere around there, give or take a few. And so they were expecting someone else to come in and run a meeting. They said Magic came, not only did Magic come in and show love to everybody, it was the nicest human being on the planet,
Yeah.
but he ran the whole meeting. He knew all his KPIs, all his metrics, and they was blown away, and they invested double
Exactly.
of what he asked for because he was so sharp.
But I'll tell you what, people want to see if you're going to get in something that you're engaged, if you're really committed. So you're going to get tested. There's no difference being a rookie.
Right.
And so I found out going into these meetings, sitting in these rooms with people that I would have I was
Name
amazed
'em.
to be in.
Why you keep saying these people? Who are these people?
These people.
What?
But I will tell you
I don't know
this.
the people.
You know the people.
I don't know
You
the people.
name your people.
I will tell this. I will tell
Different
y'all
kind
this
of
We
though.
might get
I
one
know
name.
that.
We might get one
Name
name.
these people. Name one.
y'all
Name
know.
one that you know
His
you
people
got
look like,
permission.
oh, Mike, don't
You know
do
you
it.
got permission to
I'm
name
not
at
doing
least
it.
3.
I'm not doing it. Can't do it. Can't do it. Just take these people as big people.
Right.
But you realize you know more than you think you know. You've taken in more information from contracts in the NFL, from listening to stuff, being around people, and then you get in these things and you just start talking. And I've been talking about stuff and going in my own head as I'm talking, going, well, damn, where'd that come from? Fool, you're smarter than you thought.
Right.
And you trust yourself because we're smarter than we thought. And Magic proved that he's not just some basketball player.
Right.
He's not a personality. He actually knows what the hell he's talking about because he's really invested. And that's why they invested in Magic. That's why J.C. Penney invested in us. Business has been incredible. Now we went to Men's Warehouse. Business is
Booming.
really booming.
Booming.
I feel like, Antonio Brown, business is booming. But it's been good, man. And then we just been like working from there. Like the suits with the kids. Now we're doing men's the skincare,
line.
men's
Why?
skincare.
Why?
Because
How you gonna
okay,
sell? How you sell me skincare?
look
Yeah.
at me, man.
Look at me, man.
There you go. That's all I need to say.
Right.
That's all I need
Get
to
it,
say.
get it close up.
Yeah.
What made
all
you
right.
get into that business?
You know why? Because it's all about confidence, right? And I'm on TV all the time. Makeup, I got all, I gotta keep it
You got a
together.
glam team.
Because if you don't take care of your skin, that's confidence.
Yeah.
I was a kid who had acne. I was a kid, and you running around there, you trying to do like that and hide the little pimples and stuff and afraid to run around. But as an adult, now wearing a suit is a confidence thing,
That's
right?
true. Right,
But that's just one part of your confidence. Your skin, having great skin is even more confidence. So it's kind of a natural transition of being in a suit. And for me, we have our work leisure brand and our athleisure brand, and then now the skincare. Everything is really organic. I don't do anything I don't use.
That's good. That's good then. Yeah.
I don't stand behind it 100% because people know authenticity. Public now is so aware of when somebody's trying to put on a show. Like
Right.
people are smarter than that now.
Like, he getting paid for that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they know when it's fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We all seen some stuff and you going, man, that dude he ain't driving this car.
Right.
I seen
Right.
the cat last week. He was driving that. He ain't driving this. You know what I'm saying? So authenticity. So for me, everything we've done has been authentic, whatever that thing. Authentic.
Say it, Shady.
I can't even say it. Say it.
I can't say it.
Okay.
You gonna get me messed up on tape.
We'll
You
cut
gonna
it.
be the only one on tape.
It's been real.
Yeah.
It's been real. So yeah,
Authentic.
man. But all of that, and now I feel like I'm kind of getting to that point where, and I'm sure you guys felt like this in your careers and in sports and everything else, where you do want to give back. Like it's time. Like I didn't want to play football, have all those years of knowledge, and then not help these young cats. You know what I'm saying? So now I work with Kayvon Thibodeau with the Giants. I'm trying to talk and mentor this young cat. Like this is how this city, you can't outdo this city, man. This city's undefeated.
Undefeated.
Right.
It's gonna be here.
Undefeated.
It's not going.
What do you mean
It
by
ain't
that?
going
Break
nowhere.
that down.
You can't out-party it. You
Yeah.
can't stay up later. You can't outmaneuver this place. You can't outsmart it. Like the greatest have tried, and the greatest have failed. And you are not greater than a lot of greats that I've been around, at least at this point.
Right.
And I think for a lot of these young guys who come into the league, everybody comes in also with this mentality. They're a brand.
Right.
They're all these things. But we all know only way you become all these, you got to put the work in on the field,
on that
man.
field. That's right.
It's what you said earlier. It's like you came in and it was all about being the best football player because you knew post-career, if you balled on the field, everything was going to take care of itself. You
And
can't put the fame before the game.
But y'all play, I'm sure y'all do the same. I play for respect, though.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
How many
Come on,
times
man.
you want to turn on that film on Monday morning and your boy sitting there and you like, I never wanted that feeling.
Right.
Well, they can tell you're not giving it everything. And then you know that the next 3 teams you playing are going back and watching
gonna
that
see it.
film,
Yep.
and they're going to see you out there not doing it.
Right.
I wanted that defense, an offensive coach. I wanted that tackle, whoever I was going to go against, to look and go, oh, damn, this week,
Right.
I got to be ready. And then when I got in the game, first few plays, I will let them know, yeah, what you saw is real. And what you saw on film is real.
Right.
That wasn't no one-off. Oh, you getting it every play like this.
Right.
And I looked at every play was life or death to me.
Speaking of every play, we'll stay on football right here. Tell me this. Tell me who's the best you've ever played against, offensive line-wise.
Okay.
And I want to know your top 5 defensive players of all time.
The greatest offensive lineman I ever played against, the toughest for me, with Eric Williams, the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, Big Will.
And number 2.
We missing somebody?
Number 2.
Yeah,
Are we missing somebody here?
Huh?
Are we missing somebody?
Yeah.
I'll let you. Let me let you finish.
No. But I'll say the tied for number
There
2.
you-
Tied for number 2 are 2 other guys. Leon Searcy, who played in Pittsburgh, then went to Jacksonville.
Let's hear it. Come
and
on.
John Runyon.
There you go.
Love the Eagles, baby. You heard what he
You ain't
But
said.
I
put him one?
owned him every
You ain't
time.
put him one?
But now that's my guy, man. He was tough. But Eric Williams, offensive linemen are usually reactive. They
Right.
react. He was proactive. He'd attacked. And they would throw the ball, and you turn and look at the receiver and the DB back there, so he's going to catch it, and he would bop, right across the back of the head. If you go back and watch film, he's the only man I ever seen make Reggie White want to fight. He got the preacher out there trying to fight. That dude was mean, man. He was the toughest guy I've ever gone against. Always, but he made
Right.
everyone else after him seem easier. And I appreciated having to get up and be ready for him. And that was the same thing with John.
Right.
John was a big boy, man. Once he put those mitts on you, it was over. I studied so much film of that cat just to try to figure out some way to have an advantage. And thank goodness, I mean, he had his share of good plays against me, believe me, but people remember my better
grinding.
ones against him more.
You mentioned Reggie White. Before we get to his
Best
second
5?
question,
Oh, okay.
best 5. Hold on. You mentioned Runyon and all these guys. Is it still personal? When you see him now, how is it? Because this dude right here, we just went to Pittsburgh's camp a couple weeks ago,
Well, Mike
and he
Tomlin.
would want to go. You know,
I'm not
Cincinnati,
interviewing
the
Mike Tomlin.
Bengals, Steelers beef. Like, come on, bro. Like,
I have nothing.
You've been
I have-
playing it for 4 years.
These 2 guys, guess where they went, Mike? They went to Pittsburgh. Adam, I stayed in Cincinnati. You know, we did Cincinnati first, then they went to Pittsburgh, and I met them here.
But you got a problem with the Steelers?
Yeah, he's
I'm
like, it's
saying-
personal.
Me, I don't have a problem with the Steelers, but like I'm saying, I would have to, if I had to cover them, I'd go, but I'm not willingly just going to cover them for
Because
camp.
you
get
got
what I'm saying?
you got a problem with the Steelers.
Yeah, he take that.
Yeah,
he
I
take
do.
It serious.
I have a problem with the Steelers. Y'all heard it right here. I got a problem with Pittsburgh.
I know I don't really have a problem with any team like that. I was in Philly last week. I drove out to Philly. I
never
rolled
had no
around
issue with
Philly.
that.
You
Only
good in
time he
Philly?
going to the Eagles
Yeah,
Stadium if he getting paid though.
Yeah, I mean, I went to a Phillies game with GMA. If we go to a Phillies game, they want us to throw out the first pitch because we were doing our show from Philadelphia. It was like 3 years ago. And the producer's like, it's going to be great. You're going to go out there. Robin's going to go out there. George, you're going to cheer. And I'm like,
Hell no.
apparently you don't know shit about football.
Yeah.
Like, dude, they don't like me,
Right.
which is an honor when they don't like you because it means I'm good at my job.
Right.
But they don't like me. It ain't going to be what you
And
think.
they take it personal.
But I will say, yeah, they booed me. They gave me all the EA, GLES stuff. But they showed me love when I was walking through the stadium
Respect.
and everything
Right,
else and
right.
respect.
Yeah.
And that's that. And so I respect Philly. It was always my favorite place to play
Most hostile fans.
because of the fans. And I love the vet stadium, even though it was a dog track. I hated the turf. I mean, the turf was the
Well,
worst.
they had jail
in the
stadium.
basement.
Yeah, in Philly, bro.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
That's crazy.
But you know what I loved about it though?
What?
You be sitting here on the bench And that'd be the fan. The stands be right there with my man with
yeah.
that camera. And you sitting here and they giving it to you, but we were always winning back then. So I didn't mind because I could give it right back. so it was great. It was fantastic.
So your top 5.
My top 5 started with
Now and then.
number 5.
Okay.
Started with number 5. Man. Woof, now and then. D lineman?
Defense.
Yeah.
God, that's a lot of years to cover,
on,
man.
That's right.
Just when you watch him, you see him on tape playing
Top
against
5.
him.
I tell you right now, I love Junior Seau.
Oh, they say it was
Love
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
And sometimes I feel like Junior don't get enough love, but I love Junior Seau. Pop, pop, pop
He's
everywhere.
good. Fast.
Fast and vicious. I gotta say my man Deacon Jones.
He's
Deacon
4.
Jones.
Deacon Jones. Deacon told me he had 200 sacks in one season.
I swear to God.
And I did just what we just did. He looked at me like, "What you laughing at, boy?" But that was my guy, Deacon. But then it's kind of like I'm always in the mind of D lineman though.
About 200 sacks.
No,
So-
Deion Sanders, Ray
I
Lewis.
know. Well, Deion,
Aaron Donald.
Ray, Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
He's probably the best
Reggie
defensive
White.
tackle I've ever seen.
Hold on.
Hold
You
it.
say that again.
Get that
Say
on
one
tape.
more time.
Get that
Aaron
on tape.
Donald is probably the best interior defensive lineman ever in the history of the game of
I
football.
told y'all that. I
Ever
told
in the
y'all
history of the
boys.
game of Howie Long and I sit there and watch that cat. Nobody can touch that dude.
Not even
Nobody.
close.
Right.
That dude is unbelievable.
Warren Sapp was close.
That dude
Wasn't
is
close.
unbelievable. Don't insult Aaron Donald.
Right.
Right.
Don't insult Aaron Donald.
Okay.
All right? Now, when you talk about anybody I don't like,
Right.
we about to go there with that
Oh,
name.
yeah.
But number 1, LT.
LLC.
I love
LT.
that.
Lawrence Taylor's number 1.
Why?
Because there was nobody who changed the game like him, and even if they changed it to stop him, they still couldn't stop him.
Right.
And no one was as vicious, as fast, as feared.
That's true.
And I was lucky enough to play with him for my rookie year, and all those things that I said about him, absolutely true. He was an incredible teammate. And the one thing I learned about him, when he did come to practice, he wasn't there. He wasn't there every day.
He wasn't.
But he came most of the time.
He wasn't never there.
He showed up.
But when he showed up and he hit that practice field, reps, 100 miles per hour. Then he tell the scout team guy, "You stay, I got it." 100 miles per hour. Every time he touched the field, he was 100 miles per hour. And that let me know that this dude is more than just like a talented athlete. This cat worked. He knew the game. He knew formation. He knew everything. And that gave me all the respect in the world outside of respect I had not like watching him from afar.
Right.
So LT is by far the number 1 football player.
What's your all-time favorite LT story? You know, there's a lot out there.
Oh, yeah.
Public.
I heard a lot myself. When he came to practice, give us one of them
Problem is
stories.
I can't tell him, man.
Huh?
I can't tell him.
You
Like
can't tell?
Yeah, I can't tell.
That's
Put it this way.
that off the camera
I will
story.
tell you, there was some crazy thing. You know, you're a rookie. I'm coming from Texas Southern, and this cat's like, "Yo, we having a party, and it's mandatory that you rookies come.
Oh, mandatory?
Mandatory. If you don't show up, we are fining you." Now back then, we ain't making these rookies come out making billions. We ain't making that.
Right.
I can't take no $500 fine. So I'm like, all right, me and Jesse Armstead, Marcus Buckley, all the little young bucks
Armstead was
roll
nice
up
too,
in
yeah.
there. And let's just say, I saw things that I never thought I'd ever see in my life. And I'm just glad there were no video phones and cameras and all that. It was a different era. And everybody,
You think that era changed?
everybody agreed to be there. So it was nothing crazy like
Right.
that.
Oh, yeah, okay, I got you.
But it was just, it was some jaw-dropping stuff for a young cat like me.
Tell us a little bit about your family life, man, as far as your fatherhood.
4 kids, 30-year-old daughter, Tanita, 27-year-old son, Michael Jr., and I have twin girls who are 17, going to senior high school, Isabella and Sophia. And yeah, we're done here. I'm off on vacation with all 4 of them. Like once a year, we all get together for a vacation.
Right.
But here, if it's overseas or something, Africa, we go all over the world, man, because you realize that you think you do all this for yourself, but then when you have kids, you realize you ain't doing it all for you.
Yep.
and your parents. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's always been about my kids and about my parents, and it's about leaving a legacy. And I always think to myself, when it comes, they just say there's no right time to do the wrong thing.
Right.
And I think that it takes a lifetime to build a reputation, and it takes a second to destroy it. And
That's
my
true.
kids have to live with my name, because if you say my name, most people have an association, and I don't want them to have a negative association on my part. And so for me, it's about kids, spending time with the kids, giving them their room to grow, but making sure they're responsible adults. And I got to say that they have a great life. I wish I had their life, but they're not spoiled.
Right.
They know how to work. They're willing to work, and they're just good people. And that's the most important thing for me, man. So
What have you
yeah,
learned from them?
what have I learned from them? Patience.
Me too.
Hey, man, they try you. They try you, especially teenage girls. Two of them at the same time.
Oh my
They
God.
try you. And that one, that 30-year-old, she's great. Like, she's easy, cool. My son, we all have adult conversations.
Right.
But my 17-year-old, one of them, she did incredible on her SAT. She wants to be in finance, and she's done internships at 16 and 17-year-old at Goldman and
Oh,
Tiger
yeah.
Global and so she's like, I want to go to Duke, North Carolina, Stanford. She crushes her
Right.
SATs, and then gonna say, when I told her something, like, well, what? I didn't get anything for doing well on my SAT test. It's your job.
Right.
So it's a challenge to have patience with them and let them understand the value of like life, the value of money, the principle of understanding that the world's a little bit bigger than what your narrow focus is right now. But also as a parent, the patience to understand they're gonna learn on their own.
What have they taught you about love?
Unconditional.
Yeah.
I tell my girls all the time, because they're wondering, we're in the city and they want to go out with their friends. And I'm like, well, curfew this time. Well, can I get an extra? No. Well, this kid, I don't care. Like, that's not my kid. I'm not that parent. I'm not that kid's parent. I'm your parent. And this is what I say. And the reason being, I say to them, I say, you'll understand it one day if, God willing, you're fortunate enough to have kids, is that when you have a kid, your heart lives outside your body.
Right.
Like, I'm here, my physical heart is here, but my head and my real heart, it's always wondering, and with my kids, wherever they are, when I can't see them right there in front of me and protect them.
Right.
And so it's taught me like unconditional love, that you're willing to do anything for someone else outside of yourself.
So with that being said, I don't know where you at on the list. Most attractive dudes, most sought after dudes. What's your love life like?
I got a lady, man.
You got a lady?
Yeah, but I'm quiet. I did the public stuff.
We talked about transitions earlier. That was
Yeah.
a big transition, 2016, going from live to
Yeah.
GMA. And you said that things could have been handled differently.
Well, I think everything in my life, as far as work-wise, has happened at the right time. So for me to leave the Giants and then I go to Fox, to sit there at that desk with those guys, after the third week, I almost said, forget it, because the Giants asked me to come back in the off season.
Right.
And the third, it was hard. Got all these thoughts. Did a light hit, and I know I'm live, and I'm like a babbla boobla boobla boo.
Right.
And then I look at Jimmy in commercial break, and I go, hey man, anything I say makes sense. He'd be like, I don't know, I wasn't listening to you. Thank you, old man. But it was so much pressure those first 3 weeks that I thought about going back to football. But now I look back, and it taught me to listen. I got 4 dudes up here with a panel. I got my notes. They may take 3 or 4 of the things that I say on my notes. I may be stuck with nothing.
Yep.
I got to improvise. I got to come up with something, and I got to listen. And so, and also, it's a master class. Like, I'm sitting next to these geniuses of sports
Right.
TV.
You got so
do
many
their job,
experience and
they're
years.
all so different, and they're also experienced. That I would be a fool to sit there and think I'm gonna come in and run the show.
Right.
Fox is the ultimate thing about unselfishness, teamwork, listening. If they get in our ear and say, hey, we don't have time for 2 comments, and there are 4 of us or 3 of us got all of us ready, take us out.
Right.
We don't care. We just here to love each other, man, and have a good time.
locker
It
room.
didn't feel that way on
And
live?
we'll be talking later on.
Right.
Unless you talk, unless you got a chance of screwing it
Right.
up.
Right.
So-
Totally agree.
So when I left there, and went to live. Live was great. I mean, I learned so much there. I learned so much from Kelly. Like to create a story or tell about an experience in a way that is entertaining for a morning show audience of not just men, which is like football, mostly men, but to do it in a way that appeals to women and to have something about your life and to show a side of you where you understand about pop culture, you understand about music, you understand about the current events of what's going on, and then to be able to talk about sitting here with you guys. I would literally, if I was still on the show, go in tomorrow and say, yo, I was sitting with my guys and we did this and we did that. It was incredibly fun. Live TV is for me because I just like the live aspect and the pressure of it. But after a few years, I got the offer to go to GMA, which I said no at first.
What?
I'm not doing it. Nah, not news. I didn't do news. I was good. I work an hour a day.
All right.
That was it. I go, back then I was a single man. I'm hanging out on the town.
Right.
And show up at 8:40, do live at 9, be done at 10, be on my couch by 10:15, sleep it off, and go out again that night. So that was the perfect life.
Yeah.
Right.
And I had to learn more about the world than I ever thought I'd be interested in. I know more about politics than I ever thought I'd know about politics. I didn't think I was interested until now. Everything, man. It just kind of opens your mind about everything in the world.
Think about running for mayor?
Hell no, I ain't running for mayor for what?
Just ask.
So when did you start loving it, like the idea, and that's big.
You know what? That show frightened me so much that it took me years to get comfortable.
Is that right?
Yeah, for years to get comfortable sitting there, because in a way you kind of feel like, do I belong? Like I'm looking at where I came from,
Right.
and then I'm sitting at a news desk. I'm looking at Robin Roberts and George Stephanopoulos.
Right.
And there are times I'm sitting there on my own head going, I got to be dreaming. What the hell am I doing here?
That's right.
But when you realize that the world has changed, and years ago, this wouldn't have happened.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
This would not have happened. The world has changed. People love this because you guys deliver information and interviews in a different way in which they can relate to each of you in a different way. And that's how news is now. News is delivered from someone who looks like me, who came from my background, to someone who came from Robin's background, to someone who came from George's background, who all look different and approach the world in a different way. And I think that's why it's been successful and the show has been doing incredibly well, because the public, it's not the old days of one guy sitting there with a tie who's just, preaching to you about what's going on in the day. And so now I'm so comfortable there. I love it. But it was something I said, no, man, I didn't see myself like
Delete the
almost
contact.
imposter syndrome.
So, some final questions, final thoughts to end the show. Let you go. You're gonna go on vacation.
I ain't got nowhere to go.
All right, here we go. GMA or the Giants? You got to pick one or the other. GMA or the Giants?
The world's watching.
In what regard?
If you had to pick?
Like if I had to forget one in my whole life.
That's right. That's right. You got to pick
Delete the
one.
contact.
GMA or the Giants?
Problem is, one pays a lot more than the other.
Right. So answer the question.
That's a factor. All right.
Big fact.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Tea time. We call this tea time.
Well,
It's our opportunity to get messy.
All right. Giants.
Why?
Damn. Wait, Giants get rid of or keep?
Not keep. I keep.
Oh, they keep Giants.
Why?
I keep. Man, it was just something about the physicality of it all and the payoff at the end of it. And it's nothing better to me as a player to walk into a locker room or to walk out there on the field before the game, before we had our pads on, and look at some big old dude and be like, man, that dude's so damn, he's big.
Right.
Then to put on the pads and look at him and go, have that, like a lion.
Yeah.
When a lion looks at you, it has no life in its eyes. It does not care. And to be able to have that switch and look at a guy who's a 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds bigger than me and own him.
Right.
The physicality of that.
Right.
And the ability to switch my mind and have that predatory attitude. And to walk out in the stadium, 80,000 people. I can't get that in anything I've done since. And I've done incredible stuff. Oscars, Emmys, all kinds, hosted awards, I've done all that. You don't get that.
We had to fight to get a meal, yeah, wrongfully accused. We had to fight to get appeals. That's why we right to get a deal. He on the team, he gotta eat, you know, despite your skills. He been riding for the fam, you gotta light the wheels straight up. But in the past bad, work up in the trash bag. I'll pass a lot to take the test before I pass class. And my family needed bread, I had to come correct. That's why I keep airing it out like I just passed gas.